Hello my friends. So I've been always this new year, new iPhone type of guy, and I bought the 12 Pro in 2020, the 13 Pro in 2021, and then finally in 2022 the fancy new iPhone 14 Pro. Normally I hold them like for about 1 year and then I get the new one. But this changed last month. Right now I'm holding this iPhone 12 Pro in my hand, which is right now my daily driver. So I used my 14 Pro for just 8 or 9 months, and then I changed to the 12 Pro, and this is kind of weird for me. And what is even more weird, I really like the switch to the 12 Pro. And I tell you why after the intro. So I need to say that I love Apple devices or technology in general since I've been very young. I kind of started my first job just to get an iPhone 5. And I also one time flew to the US just to be the first one in the iPhone line. But hands down, why the 12 Pro now? So I decided to give my iPhone 14 Pro to my wife and use her old 12 Pro. More or less as an experiment, just because I was curious to see how it performs nowadays. I mean, it has been like over 2 years since this came out, and so how is it 2 years later? And also many people I know are currently updating their 12 Pro or Pro Max to the 14 Pro or Pro Max. And please just don't do that 2 months before the new iPhone 15 comes out. It just doesn't make any sense. But I just ask myself, is it really worth it? So, I mean, it's basically 2 generations. So really with the 14 Pro, you should be like, wow, this new iPhone is amazing. How could I live so long without it? And there was always this friend of mine that have always looked at the 14 Pro and said literally to me, oh, man, I hate my 12 Pro. The 14 Pro is like so much better. And then I asked him why. And I need to ask him like several times because in some way he don't really know. It was like more a marketing thing, I would say. But for him it was at the end 2 main reasons. First, the camera. We all know it. It's the first marketing move when you watch an Apple presentation, the camera is better. And the second thing was, I mean, we had a sunny day outside and we were really like 5 hours straight in the sun. And when you're like constantly at the phone and scrolling through Instagram, then maybe the screen gets too hot and it dims. So you can maybe not see everything when you are like scrolling through Instagram. But I think for most of the other situations, it's kind of the iPhone is always so good how you feel about thing, if this sounds reasonable. So is it really like that the 14 Pro's camera is like so much better that you notice it like every time? And we will come to that later in some comparison videos and photos, but there is always one thing in my head when I hear something like the one friend of mine said, why was I happy when the 12 Pro came out? And why would I be not happy with it anymore? So what exactly has changed in my mind? Because when the new iPhone comes out, it's always the latest and greatest, of course. But what happens when you just think the iPhone 12 Pro is the newest model? So really just think about it. So when Apple just would release the new iPhone like every 3 years.
This is iPhone 12 Pro.
This would be the new phone. Would you be happy with it? Probably. And in some way you can use that great Apple marketing for you. Just watch the 2020 keynote where they presented the iPhone 12 Pro. Then you want nothing else than the 12 Pro. I mean, it's not really that easy, but I think you get the point. So what was my first impression when I switched? So I deleted everything from the 14 Pro and transferred my data with the iCloud backup, like on a normal evening. And my first impression was like, oh, okay, yeah, you can see the 60 Hertz refresh rate in some way when you used like the 120 Hertz promotion for over a year. But it wasn't like, oh, I need my 14 Pro back. So I just had like then some minutes to play around. Then I put it to the charger and went to sleep. So what the next day happened was unbelievable because nothing happened. For real. Like normally I don't use my phone that often in the morning just to start my day intentionally. I was just doing my morning routine, which is some kind of workout, then breakfast, and also maybe improving my piano skills or something. And after that, I go to work. So the first time I used my phone on that day was in the car when I need to activate it for the CarPlay and hear some podcasts. And at work, I often use my phone for some calls, of course, and make some notes when I'm on the way between rooms or something. And then on the way back from work, I will hear some podcasts again and maybe on the evening watch some YouTube videos or play a little bit like Call of Duty Mobile or something. But let's get to the technical details, I would say. So how good is the camera? Here on this picture you can see a picture of my dog in the garden with the 12 Pro in the normal mode. And here you have the same picture taken with the 14 Pro in also the normal mode. I mean, you can see that the background blur is better on the 14 Pro because of the bigger sensor size. But this changed when we changed to the portrait mode. Here on the 12 Pro, you can now see that the background blur is also very good. The LiDAR sensor makes very good work on the 12 Pro. And here you can see the same picture from the 14 Pro. So there is not that much of a difference anymore. Then we come to the videos. Both videos are filmed in 4K, 30 frames per second. Here is about the same difference as in the photo section, I would say. When you have a general shot, I would say, with the object you are filming like far away from the lens, you cannot see a dramatic difference. Again, you can see when we switch to the 14 Pro's video that the background blur is better when we are nearer to the object we are filming. But I mean, most of the times we are not filming to present it on a 150-inch 4K display. Mostly we are watching this on our phone's displays. And in my opinion, there is not that much of a difference on this small screen. So, but let's go to the other technical details. So firstly, there is this buttery smooth ProMotion 120 Hz display on the iPhone 14 Pro, which I mentioned earlier, and also the always on display, which stays always on even when you lock the phone. So both of them are kind of nice to have, I would say, but not really necessary. And kind of the same is with the dynamic island, which is also nice, but it's not like you can't live without it. Then with the 14 Pro, which is like for most of the people kind of a big deal, you have about like 30% more battery life, which is useful when you don't have like a power bank or use an external battery. Just like the MagSafe battery, you can stick on the backside of your phone and it just charges. But when you forget all that, I mean, for my 12 Pro, I can say I never needed an external battery. Then you have, of course, the one time more zoom on the 14 Pro telephoto lens. But when you view the pictures, it's not that much of a difference, especially when you view it on the iPhone display. I mean, when you zoom in like many times, like every picture is zoomed in, then the 3x zoom would be useful. And also you have the macro mode on the 14 Pro. I mean, the photos are great when you use them. So I took some macro photos when I first got the 14 Pro, but after like 1 or 2 months, I never took new ones. So kind of depends if you are shooting in macro or not. So what is with the processor? It's A14 against A16. I mean, the crazy thing is that this processor is even faster in some ways than the newest Samsung S23 from 2023. I've searched some benchmarks, and in the single core speed this one is better. It's because Apple was always way ahead with the processors. So on the speed side, you absolutely don't need to worry about that. And then there are the software updates. With this 12 Pro and also with the normal 12 and 12 Pro Max, you will get at least 4 more years of new software versions and some more years on the security side. But I mean, with all the great benefits, with the faster processor, better display and better battery, why did I like the 12 Pro more? So first reason is I would say, it's fine factor. Let me explain it. When you accidentally drop your phone and you have some marks on the phone, but nothing crazy like a broken glass, then it's just it's fine factor. But when you drop an iPhone with double the price, it's more likely that your heart is going to stop for some seconds, I would say. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 12 Pro is not for free, but you can use it with more, I would say, ease of mind. So when something happens, you don't need to cry for several days. And the second reason is I really don't notice that much difference for basically more than half the price. So here in Germany you can get the 14 Pro for about 1,300 euros and a good used 12 Pro for 400 to 500 euros. So did you get twice the performance? Not really. Did you get twice the better pictures? Also not really, I would say. So the 12 Pro is more like a really good deal for everyone, I would say. And the third reason, which is like the biggest reason for me, the 14 Pro is thicker and heavier. So not everyone notices it like right away, but the 14 Pro is really quite heavier than the 12 Pro. When I use it on the couch for some minutes, I can really feel that the 14 Pro is not so grippy anymore because it's like thicker and heavier. I mean, it's not that extreme, but it's definitely noticeable. And the fourth reason is that the price drop is not as noticeable when the 15 Pro comes out. This one will drop dramatically in price, but the 12 Pro will stay about the same. So how is the battery health after over 2 years of using this phone like on day to day? So the battery health right now is at 88%, which is very good for over 2 years of constantly use, I would say. So in some way you can say that we used about 6% of the battery health every year. And normally you would maybe think about a battery change at way below 80% battery health. And even if you need to change the battery at some time in the future, it will be always below $100 or euros, even if you are changing it in the Apple Store. But some people may ask, why the 12 Pro and not the 11 Pro or iPhone XS? For me personally, the iPhone 12 Pro was like the biggest improvement ever. The new design, which is like very good. You have a very nice bright display, 5G speed, and, which is like personally for me the interesting thing, HDR video recording. And the best factor is most of the price decrease is like already over. So you can get a really good smartphone which you can use at least for 3 or 4 more years for a really good price. So who should buy a 12 Pro? And to be honest, I would say like almost everyone. It's not like you're going to notice the speed of the new processor in the 15 or 13 Pro. At least if you're not like playing Genshin Impact for 1 hour a day. For normal use and normal gaming, it's absolutely enough. But who should buy a 14 Pro then? I mean, if you have like a company and you get your taxes back for the 14 Pro, then it's great. Also, if you really need the camera of the 14 Pro, then it's also good. When you have like a big Instagram business or something like that. And when you maybe just like me, you buy the new thing every year just because you're very interested in it. But you know that the products are not going to make your life better. And of course, I will buy the new 15 Pro and test it when it comes out. But mostly because this is like the biggest hobby I have, and this is why I have this YouTube channel right now. But for really most of the people, the 12 Pro will absolutely be the best bang for the buck. So let's come to the conclusion. Of course, you can use the 12 Pro like very good in late 2023, even though the iPhone 15 Pro comes out in some weeks. But I think even when the 15 Pro comes out, you can use the 12 Pro for at least 2 or 3 more years before you even need to think about switching to the newest iPhone. So thank you very much for watching. If this video helped you even a tiny little bit, I would thank you if you would like this video and maybe subscribe to my channel. I'm new to YouTube and I need every subscriber, I would say. And also I will post more videos about iPhones and Apple in general in the next weeks. So again, thank you very much and have a nice day.